Welcome to the Ringmasters Podcast, Chicago's most trusted source to educate, guide, and give you tips and advice for choosing and purchasing the right diamonds, custom engagement rings, and wedding bands. Here's our expert design chief, Kourosh Daneshkar, and our diamond experts, Maury Taffershy and Terry Hanley. This podcast is brought to you by Chicago's own Wedding Bands and Company, where we believe marriage is too important for ordinary jewelry.
Hello, our listener. Here, another episode of Ringmaster. Here, I'm here with Terry Hanley and Maury Taffershy, and this is Kourosh Daneshkar. We are here to talk about Chicago engagement ring and some of the design I have done through past years, being in the business in Chicago for 20 years. I designed some ring after places in Chicago. And the reason I did that is literally in designing perspective, if anything you have you've seen, if you look at the sign, if you look at the portrait or anything, is going to give you kind of message. And I use that, and I have created design which going to be after places in Chicago, and couple they use those pieces and propose on those location or have a memory for those location, and that's generate a sign to the time they fell in love or that propose happened. So one of them is the design of the ring after Buckinghamton Fountain, and that Buckinghamton Fountain design, I use some sculpture from the fountain, and after that I have a center stone with surrounding in the circle like a fountain. So it's really, if you like to see it, we put those pictures on the website. You can find them, and if you search for Chicago engagement ring, probably you're going to land to that page, and you're going to see those images. So Terry, would you expand to about that fountain and this kind of?
Chicago is a great town. It really truly is, and we have so many young couples that both come here together or independently and kind of come to the city at a young age, like 20, 21, 22, and it's such an incredible city to experience, architecturally, historically, and then inevitably they start dating and they fall in love, and there's usually going to be certain places, special places that is part of their story, is part of their history here in Chicago, leading up to they're falling in love and getting engaged and doing all that kind of stuff. And so one of the things that I know Kourosh likes to do, that we like to do, is kind of integrate their story or that story into the design of those pieces. As Kourosh was saying, the Buckingham Fountain is always a great example. It's such a cool place. One of the places I still go every spring when they turn it on, just to acknowledge spring is arriving. It's such an incredible place. A young couple. They kind of lived down in the South Loop area. The Buckingham Fountain was part of their normal routine. So it kind of became something they wanted to memorialize in their recognize in their engagement ring. So as Kourosh mentioned, he kind of built this and designed an incredible piece around the look of, the flavor of, the feel of, the significance of Buckingham Fountain. One of my favorites is General Grant's Memorial, which is up in Lincoln Park.
So that's a second design. I want to we finish with that Buckingham.
Buckingham, yes.
And then we go to the other two I designed. So I want to save that for later. So Maury, I'm sure you explain this to your client when they come. This is one of the things we show them when they ask for the special piece. And I know recently you had a client, they bought that ring. So
it's I had this couple that they were originally from Chicago, both of them, but then the lady was a teacher, so they moved to Detroit, Michigan, almost 10 years ago. But they met in Chicago long time ago, and where did they meet? Did they meet by the fountain, Buckingham Fountain? But they were both running in the park. So every time, or a couple of times that they came across the fountain, and then they said, "Oh my God!" And then they started talking, and then that's pretty much they took it as a point of interest that's where they met.
Wow.
So almost 10 years after, they're not in Chicago anymore. They're both in Detroit, Michigan, where they started, when they found each other, they said, "Oh my God, I remember you. I met you like 10 years ago in Chicago." And then they say, "You know what? The best thing to do is we're going to do it by the design of the fountain." When they were here and I showed them the picture and the ring itself, the guy got really overexcited. He said, "Oh my God, that's it. I just got to get the stone for it." So he got the stone. He didn't care about what size the stone is. He said, "That's the ring." And pretty much we go back and forth for the design, sending it to her to approve it, because there are a couple of options that we can go with the Buckingham Fountain, that the people can modify it, with whatever they can implement in it, more diamond, less diamond, higher, low profile. These are all the modifications we do for different people. So pretty much technically not every one of them is going to be like duplicating others. It's all going to be different. So it's going to be extremely unique for every person. And they loved it. I mean, when he proposed, even though she knew exactly what she was going to get, but still she was impressed,
One thing I want to also mention, I had client which also they didn't have any history about that fountain, but that was their history, and that started the memory forever. So he, two of my clients, they planned the proposal around the fountain, and even one of them hired a photographer. Actually, I don't know, you've seen in Shark Tank, there is a business. You can hire paparazzi they're gonna take a picture from you guys when you propose, and they are at their height, so they take really professional picture, and the girls she have no idea this happening, and he did that, and he showed me those pictures. It was amazing. So and imagine from now on, anytime she look at the ring, what is going to happen? She's going to remember that proposal time, that time, and
so it becomes part of the memory.
Becomes part of
it becomes part of their story.
Their story,
which is very cool.
And
again, what it's about.
What it's about.
As we said, almost I would say almost half of our clients are coming from different towns, different states, different countries. Some are online, but pretty much the other half are from the vicinity of Chicago. And this couple that I told you about, that they were from Chicago, but they lived out of the state. But then the guy told me that because we're from here originally, and we want to have that significance that when we say I got my engagement ring from Chicago, if I got an engagement ring, I want it to be from Chicago, because that's where I originally was from.
Sure. So one thing I always I want to say, in our memory, sometimes we register smell or sign or picture to some
significance. Significance. Yeah.
Sometimes in our memory, we link a sign or a smell to a significant event.
Yeah.
So I remember when I was a child, my grandmother used to cook every week and bring a food with her, and my mom was working that time in a salon, and I remember this food coming from my grandma was amazing. And then she passed away, God bless her soul. Anytime I go to other places and I hear that, I feel that smell of they make it same food, same special rice, I remember my grandmother and all good memory. Yeah. And then this is the same thing. So we want to, the pieces I create for those location, we want to link those to a good memory. Amazing.
To trigger those memories.
The
Yeah.
great memory. So as we explained to other podcasts, we have about proposal, and we recorded. You're gonna see it later on, or it's already on. I don't know how they're gonna post those podcasts, but we have podcasts about how to propose. So this is proposing event. It's so important, and can be something you can link to you proposing and why you're proposing to this person. What is the reason you want to get married?
This should be a big deal. This should be something huge and something romantic, and have fun with it. Make it something special.
So this is great. So we love to you guys go to our website and see Buckinghamton Fountain design. The next design I did, it's about part of the monument in Lincoln Park. I had a client. This project started with the client. They came to me and I explained the process and how I do customized ring, and they told me we went back and forth to find out where they fell in love, and it became to Lincoln Park. Lincoln Park was the place they fell in love. Lincoln Park was the place they used to walk together and discuss their future of their relationship, their family, what they want, and this is a place that really their family or their family started. The love and a goal set up, and that was one of the most places was very important for them. So also one other good memory they had was they really liked the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding, which is a love story and is in Chicago, and there is some shot of this video is over the bridge which connect the Lakeshore Drive to Lincoln Park area and Lincoln Park Zoo area, and it's close to this monument. So I picked part of this monument. So of course, Terry, would you tell us a little bit about Grant?
It's General Grant, who again was a Civil War general, and on the winning side. So he was quite prominent in the U.S. He was, and then eventually was elected president for two terms. It was pretty recognized from that era. It's a beautiful sculpture. I do a lot of cycling on the lakefront, and it's always kind of one of my landmark destination goals to get there and back or whatever. It's always, and there is a story behind it all too. There's a quirky story behind it, which I'm not coming up with. That being the trivia junkie I am, I'm not coming up with it, and I've got to do some research and find what that story is. But there was something about that story that even's better. But it's a beautiful monument. This city has a history of our public arts of being pretty phenomenal. And this one in particular has always been one of my favorites because it is beautiful.
One thing I want to add here, as a designer, when I create those pieces, I always put my goal to create a beautiful engagement ring. It's not about I'm going to make a Lincoln Park ring. It's have that hidden story, hidden sign in the ring. So when you look at that ring, it's just a couple bridges I pick and I put it there, but it's for these couple or anybody from Lincoln Park area is going to be
with any significant and location or sculpture or piece of architecture, which again this town has so many of. To do a engagement ring with Chicago architecture in it. It's like just a really cool way to kind of personalize it and detail it.
Mm-hmm. Maury, I want you to explain this when you talk to people about, like, how do you explain to your client when they come and they want to create engagement, and you are going to tell them what we believe the engagement ring is not any ordinary jewelry, and this is something you have to put your heart in and you create it. I want you to explain a little bit this.
Yeah, pretty much almost every single client, even though when they walk in, they always say, I'm looking for a simple solitaire style. That's it. That's pretty much how the whole conversation starts. But once we walk them through the whole designing, and then you got to give it a special meaning to this ring, is not that it cannot be a simple solitaire. That's also a beautiful design. But once you give it a little bit of a meaning and some significance, and then that's going to make it more special for the client, especially for the partner, that they realize that they took a little bit extra steps to get something that they love. That's the most important part.
I really like that. So it is important your partner, your future wife, husband, know that you spend time and you put your heart in to create something.
Yeah.
It's not like you just go pick that and put these together and you give it. You could do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always find it kind of interesting because when I'm first beginning to work with a client or develop a interaction or relationship with a client, I'm always kind of curious to kind of get their story. I'm always kind of curious to hear, okay, so how'd you guys meet? How long you been dating? Where are you from? And it's always interesting to hear the people that clue into that and get excited about, oh yeah, well we met, and they go into a whole story with it. That's what I'm looking for. That's what we're looking for. What are those significant events? What are those? What is that restaurant that you guys used to go to or do go to routinely that's special to you? What is it about the city that's really have you two jiving together? And that's what we're looking for, to be that base of building something, creating a design that creates something that's primarily significant between the two of you, more so than anybody else, but always a cool way to kind of integrate that into it.
All right, great, thank you. And we saved the best for the last. My last design, which probably by that time you cannot find any picture online or anywhere, and the reason is that because this design, I am cooperating with Marshall Field Foundation, and we're working on that. But I'm going to talk about it. You're welcome to come to the store and see it. So I designed a ring after Marshall Field clock. The clock.
Yeah.
Marshall Field the clock, right in the State Street in Washington. Actually, there's two of them. It's one of the most beautiful pieces to me you can find in Chicago. It has beautiful detail. And what is interesting about it, about a long time ago when there was no internet and phone, and it was phone actually that time, but one of the way people they date and give a sign, so this is not just going out as a date, is they tell the person meet you at the clock.
Meet you under the clock.
Meet you under the clock. One of the way to they tell them this is a date we're gonna go out is to tell the person meet you under the clock. So, and that's amazing. So it was a place which people that they start dating, and eventually they fell in love, and they start their relationship. For me, it was the biggest thing, and I always wanted to design the ring after the clock, because I every day pass by a park in the parking lot close by, and I always look at this, and I loved it. But it has so much detail, and it was very hard to put time and to make that ring. And I had a picture in my office. I usually put picture of the project I work in the drawing board, but I always didn't struggle to have a time to finish it. So I had one of my clients came to the store. She's a fan, and I design a ring for her every year, and she literally always supporting me, and she told me, what do you have this year? I want to make some custom ring for my 2 carat, and I want to be anything you like. So that was a good thing. And I told her, well, I have a design here. I want to always finish it, but I never finished it because it was just for my line. And I explained it, and she loved it. She said, I love this. I want the first one. So she founded the first one, and I started working on this. It took me 6 months to put the CAD and make a perfection on that design, and she waited for that. And it's Marshall Field clock on the side. And what other thing I did, I add an actual clock on the side of the ring, which is going to show a time that person is going to propose. So I haven't had any customer propose with this ring yet, and I have done it for my client. But this is amazing because it's about Chicago. It's so intricate. And I also trying to contact, in the process of working with Marshall Field Foundation to see how we can put some energy behind it and show that design in different piece of jewelry like cufflink and stuff, and working with Macy's and that part. So
and this piece could be personalized down to the minute that you ask her to marry you.
Exactly.
How cool is that, guys? That's
good.
pretty neat.
That's very neat. So if you, I'm sure we right now talk about this and you would like to see it. We have not the picture on the website, but if you come to the store and you mention you hear the podcast, you like to see Marshall Field clock ring, we love to show you a picture, and we can talk about to making it for you. So we can talk about customization and the process, how we do it. So now, we love to also create a custom piece for your story. We have those for Chicago. So would you, Maury, explain how the process of the customization is started?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, it's even my clients, when they say that I'm looking for a simple solitaire style, which is very classic, and I try to direct them somehow that we got to give it a little bit of a meaning and design. And I had this client, the couple met, they were both from Chicago, but they went to MIT. So we put the slogan from the MIT University on the side of the ring. And it was a solitaire style, but it came out beautiful because it showed that that's what they meant. So pretty much I always tell my clients that you can get the diamonds anywhere. GIA diamonds is a GIA diamond. 1.5 carat GVS 2 triple X, you can find it anywhere. But it's the design and it's the process that is going to make it meaningful. That you took extra step to give it a little bit of a significance for the ring to the person that you love, that you want to give it to. And it usually takes 4 to 6 weeks. If it's a little bit complicated, probably about 8 weeks, 10 weeks. But then we walk you through the whole process. That's the beauty of it, and that's the beauty of a customization. A lot of people, pretty much almost every single person when they walk into the store, they say they're looking around, and I say, what are you looking for? Because they have something in their mind. They have some rings designs online from this website, that website. They're looking for the one that they like in their mind. They visualize it in their mind, but they cannot see it because they cannot find it. So I tell them that, what are you looking for? You're not gonna find it, but we're gonna customize it for you. We walk you through it. Because once you give me all the information you have about the design, then we're going to implement it and create the render design, the render file. From there, we're going to do the modification, and then by the time we get to the part that we're going to have the wax prototype, pretty much I would say 99%, that's your ring in plastic. Based on the size and shape of a diamond you choose, because that's very important, because if you choose a 0.5 carat diamond versus 3 carat diamond, pretty much the whole design is going to change because the width, length, height of the ring is going to change. Because number one factor makes your ring beautiful is the proportion. We cannot put a 10 millimeter ring and a 3 millimeter height. We cannot set a 0.5 carat diamond in it.
Scale.
The scale is very important. Yeah. So that's how we walk you through it. Make sure that you're going to get the one that you really love.
I want to add something here. I want to add something here, and it is about designer you're gonna pick and the tool they're gonna use and the shop they're gonna provide. So you see, when let's say if you let's say you have a canvas, and then you're gonna buy a most expensive paint, and then a robot is gonna do the painting, or let's say you can print something, isn't it? You give it something, you put them in the printer, and you scan it, and it's gonna print, comes out beautiful, exact same,
100 copies
100%.
of it.
So
You want it.
this is different than if you sit with somebody and then say, hey, I want you to draw a picture of a woman for me with this eye like that and the hair like this, and that person is going to hear you everything, and then is going to send them and create a beautiful picture. This is a difference between tools and designers. So it could be you're going to have a best tool to copy something, but to design something, you need to work with somebody is a designer, has experience, work in that area, and has a record of doing this minimum 10,000 times. Minimum 10,000. And then you're going to say you're a master designer. So, and then you're going to go through with somebody did this through the design. So what nice thing about our team is if you come here and work with Maury, work with Terry, and they're gonna listen to this whole conversation. You tell them the direction. This is what I want to create. These are the picture. We have done this many times. We sit with you and we take you to the right channel. Here you need to talk to designer. Here you need to see a wax model. Here, so people often I see they come and I say, oh, they have a CAD design. So what? CAD design is a tool. It's like, say, I have a printer. So it is helpful if you have a right tool. So wax carving, hand carving is old, and some points is not a good idea. And some project you have to go.
You have to go that way.
You have to go
I was
that.
going to say, yes.
Terry, do you remember we made a cufflink about the dog
Right.
face? Would you
Right.
explain that?
Yeah. A couple I worked with for quite a while. They had they had a dog, which actually is still living to my knowledge, but was hugely significant in the relationship. And so they wanted to kind of make, as a wedding gift, they kind of make that instrumental as a gift to him. So they made a pair of cufflinks to present as the wedding gift.
We made it fun.
We made for them. Which were absolutely, we literally took a photograph of the dog, and had we then carved the cufflink, the wax model to cast it, and came out Hopley. Hopley was the dog's name, or is the dog's name. And it came out spectacular.
And that
Again,
project,
just something totally unique, totally personalized, totally about them.
and that project has to be with hand carving.
Yeah, that had to be hand done.
Hand
You just
done.
couldn't do it.
Couldn't
The
do
other
it.
one with that was the panther necklace that I did for the couple. That there was a significant necklace that they loved that had a large panther in it that just couldn't be done by CAD. I mean, to duplicate it and do it in gold and add genuine stones and natural stones, you could not do it by CAD. It had to be done by hand.
So I often I say that if you guys come in here for customized personalizing, that's what we do, and that's what I do. I always say I inhale any information you give me and anything you want, and I inspire with the design. That's the job of designer, and that's the job of the jeweler you work with. They have to listen to you and get everything you want, and then they have to analyze it with the experience they have and the expertise they have, and they give you direction. Is one other thing I have seen this many times is people, they think they can be a designer, a jewelry designer, and then if somebody tell you you could, you give me idea and I'm gonna make it, it's that's the person you don't want to take their advice. If you're going to go see with the designer, they have to get all of your needs, all of your information, everything about diamond and about this design setting, everything, and they have to give you direction. That's why you go to see a profession and expertise. Otherwise, that piece, it could be something like a child or somebody created, because it's the first piece, you know. So I have worked with pieces. It happened like that, and they came back here, and I told them what was the wrong, and we start from the scratch. I had worked with people, they did so many CAD for them, and they got frustrated because they didn't go anywhere, and they come to us, this is what I did. I said, hey, these are all, it's not going to work. Let's see it, and I'm going to do it for you. So, and I do the same thing. I respect my doctor. If I go to my doctor, I'm not going to tell him, I did read 2 blogs about cholesterol, and you have to give me that. I'm never going to do that. I'm going to say, tell me, doctor, what to do. So it's been we're going to have more podcasts about customization and
yeah, I think the role that we play here that's important to kind of point out is we kind of take what you bring us and set a course with it, set a direction with it as to, okay, what is possible mechanically, what is advisable artistically. I mean, we kind of take you down that our role is kind of to help, you know, set that direction and follow that look.
All right, we almost done. Maury, do you want to add something? I'm going to cut this area. You want to add, say, and apologize for the train it's showing. Okay.
And throughout the whole podcast, we apologize for all the noises because, as we said before, we're in the corner of very busy district, the jewelry district. So people come in, you're going to hear all these rings and tones, and then the train passing by. So we will be
and the usual traffic of customers. They come in and they're going to do that. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. We look forward to hear from you. Please tell us you here to this podcast and came across. Give us any question you have. There us email or give us your feedbacks underneath of this page. And please share this podcast. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Great day.
This podcast is brought to you by Chicago's own Wedding Bands and Company, where we believe marriage is too important for ordinary jewelry.